There we are.
There we go. Well, good morning, Michael and Israel here once again for Tech Tuesday. Um, Fat and happy from Thanksgiving.
Definitely.
Ate too much. So hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Hope it was, I hope you got out on the water if that's what you're wanting to do. Um, you probably did a little work around here over the
Yeah, I work most of the time.
oof.
Mm.
Oof. Well, for those of you that are waiting on a boat to get out of service, then maybe that's a good thing.
A lot of my work was like shop
Gotcha.
cleanup and
Gotcha.
trying to organize some stuff to
Yeah,
get ready.
we got a little extra pavement around
Mm.
around the dealership. Hey, Michael, good to see you. Um, yeah, so it was a good Thanksgiving. Went down to the beach for a few days. Um, didn't get out on the water. Just sat and did nothing and watched the water, which was kind of relaxing. So.
That's what I usually do at the beach, but I do it from the condo.
Oh
Watching the
yeah,
water.
yeah. That's totally yeah. Screen door, beautiful scene. Looks cold out there.
Yeah.
Where's the crappie on Neely? Man, I don't know. We did a fishing report last Saturday. We'll record that Thursday. Probably have some info. Probably get a hold of Lee Pitts. But you can go back and look at the fishing report from last weekend. I don't think the two of us are not the guys to ask where the crappie are.
They're in the water. That's all I know.
Yeah, you'll get
Yeah.
snarky comments about where fish are. But hey, if you want to talk about depth finders, um, electrical requirements, battery chargers, all that kind of fun stuff on helping find the fish, then
They're not at Aunt Reese's. I went there and crappie fish with the girls, and I got like some catfish this long.
nice, nice. Well, all right, guys. If you got questions, seriously, with service tech questions, drop them in there. I got one from the Yamaha group that looked kind of interesting. Reading through it, so and it even comes with some visuals. Um, all right, we're getting some in. Okay, Chad, you replying to Michael Glad? Yeah, all right. Go check out Canoe Creek. Let us know how it is. Um, Post a comment on the fishing report and help everybody out. All right, let's see. You got an 0720i. Can you put another rear seat base in, or do you have to keep messing with this round base?
Yeah, probably have some in stock. Just on those, you have to cut the carpet back a little bit, and there's like a little round piece in there with a bolt, and you may just have loose bolts. I don't know, or broken bolts. I've seen some of them broken, but if you're going to go through the trouble of trying to tighten them up, you might as well put a new one in there because it's usually a little beat up anyway. So, but we I think we keep them in stock.
All right. That sounds like a fun.
It's a little bit of a booger.
It sounds like a fun Christmas project.
Yeah.
Um, oh, we're getting a little live scope comment about. Yep. Um, have we gotten? Speaking of live scope, have we gotten any of the new Humminbird
Not from our normal
lives?
supplier, but I've got word from our Humminbird rep of where we may be able to get some. So I told Pat today to check into it. So hopefully we'll get some of those soon.
Yeah, we're. I know that they are slowly getting distributed for those of y'all that are curious on the Humminbird stuff. So I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say the majority of what we've got on order is probably spoken for, but I don't know. Depends on how many we get, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm, I think we pretty much said send us all that you're willing to send us
Yeah.
at this point. So, which is not uncommon these days.
Right. I guess it depends on the if you run an Optimax, you're just going to run the Opti oil, so it does pretty good. Just remember, in the wintertime, those motors, they need to warm up a little bit longer. The 2-stroke and the 4-strokes, but the 2-strokes, that oil, that that 2-stroke oil, especially that Opti oil, is kind of thick in the wintertime. And it is having a pump from a cold place to a warm place. So it's better.
Okay, he's got a Yamaha VMAX.
Okay. Is it? I'm assuming it's a 2-stroke as well. If it's a 2-stroke, then use the Yamaha.
All right.
If it's a 4-stroke, the 5W30, the synthetic works really good in the wintertime as well as the summer. So it'll be fine.
I'll beat the drum on what you're talking about with the oil and the cold water. Let it warm up more than you normally do before you start pounding on it. So and very much, we've talked about it over and over and over again. But if you're one of those guys, what do you refer to them as, power fishermen? The guys that you crank up, go hit a spot, then crank up and go hit a spot. Just think add a little more time in there. Yeah. So maybe that's a good time to
put some lures on or something.
Yeah, drink a little coffee while the motor warms back up. So just something to keep in mind, or risk it. I mean, that's the other option, I guess, right? Yeah. Best 2-stroke oil for the money.
Well, I would stick to the manufacturer's oil. They do a lot. They put a lot of money into research and development and make sure the oil's not going to blow their engines up, or get your best chances of not doing any damage. So, Yamalube for the Yamahas, Quicksilver Premium Plus, not premium but Premium Plus. And those two will kind of interchange. So if you're somewhere where you can't get Yamalube, but this place has Premium Plus, get the Premium Plus. It'll work. And then vice versa. If you're somewhere, if you got a Mercury and the only thing you can find is Yamalube 2-stroke oil, use the Yamalube 2-stroke oil. You can do that. The only thing you can't mix is the Opti. The Opti oil. If you're using Opti oil, you got to use Opti oil.
Does that change at all if you've got a much older motor, like say 15 plus years old?
Not really as far as that goes. Now, some of the Evinrudes, some of the older ones ran XD30. I would probably use the XD50 if you were using XD30 back in the day and you got something. The XD50 is a lot better oil than the XD30. So, and basically the premium Mercury oil is about the same as the XD30 oil. It's just older stuff, older technology. The Premium Plus is about the same as the XD50 as far as quality goes.
Gotcha. All right.
The Yamaha just has one 2-stroke oil, and that's the regular Yamalube.
All right. Is it safe to run Seafoam in 225 Yamaha hpdi?
It's probably safe to run it in the recommended dose. I'm not a big fan of Seafoam myself. I would use something like StarTron if you're going to use an aftermarket kind of additive. But the best thing to run in the HPDI is going to be the Ring Free Plus. It's got, most of the time people run in Seafoam when they're having problems.
Okay.
Which I don't recommend it either, because they'll usually pour a bunch in there and it can change the makeup of the fuel. So I would personally stick with maybe StarTron if you're looking for an aftermarket company, but definitely the Ring Free Plus overall.
All right. Well, so what do you kind of hesitate about the Seafoam? What have you seen that kind of?
I don't, I only know what the manufacturers say to avoid.
Gotcha.
They don't really give us a whole lot of reasons why, but a lot of people see stuff as a carburetor cleaner in a can or a fuel system cleaner in a can, and what it does is it breaks down things. But what it can do is also break down other things in your fuel system, like the walls of the fuel line, the walls of the metal in the VSTs and stuff. It can break other stuff down in there and cause even more problems down the line.
Gotcha.
Especially for HPDI because it's got so many filters in the system. Most of the time you got a filter in the boat, then you got a filter in the before where the fuel pump is, and then you got a filter in the fuel pump, and then you got a filter past the fuel pump, and then another filter in the high pressure system. So by the time it starts cleaning those filters out, it goes to the next filter and then stops that filter up, and then it could clean something out of that filter up and stop the next one down the line. But once it gets down to that high pressure pump, all that stuff, there's a really super fine filter in there that all catches in there, and then you got to rebuild that pump. So it can actually cause, worse problems down the line.
All right.
We don't want to clean stuff to the point where it cleans a big, like a filter that'll let a lot of stuff pass through to where it goes to a real fine filter and stops it up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense. All right. So what's the most popular selling trolling motor right now? Whichever one we
can for right now, I mean, the one we sell the most of is still the Minn Kota.
Yeah. The Ultrex.
The Ultrex. We've been selling several Ghosts. We've sold several of the Garmin.
Yeah, the Garmins are picking up. I don't know. I mean, it'll take a little while, I think, for the real usability. I mean, obviously the Ultrex has been around for long enough now that there's a bajillion hours put on those things, and everybody kind of knows what to expect out of them. My gut tells me is there's a few more people that are getting into the Garmin world with the live scope that they'll start going, and I think that's kind of like, yeah, I'll take the Garmin trolling motor. Which I've heard pretty good feedback from the Garmin and the Lowrance motors.
Mm-hmm. We've had to work on a few Lowrances here lately, and it seems like the ones that have broken have been. I've had a few that's been kind of troublesome. We've replaced several parts that, we give them the information, and they're like, well, this is what's wrong with it, and they'll send us a part, and it'll still be doing the same thing. So that thing's got boards everywhere. It's even got control boards in the foot, in the foot of the trolling motor. So you have to kind of.
The thing that's interesting to me about the brushless motors with Lowrance and the Garmin is the fact that you can run it as a 24 volt or a 36 volt. Yeah. Depending on the boat that you've got, that may be,
which can be nice if you run in 36, proprietarily, for the primary use, and then you have a battery go bad, you can just take that battery out of the system and then switch it to 24 volt.
But yeah, I mean, I see your comment. You've been leaning towards the Ultrex. I mean, hands down, if I had to stick a number on it, I'd still say 95 to 98% of particularly our more sizable boats that are going out with trolling motors are going out with an Ultrex.
And most of our stuff is ordered, and then it comes. Yeah. That's what they're putting on.
Yeah, I mean the Skeeters, which obviously that's the largest volume bass boat that we sell. Skeeter's got to deal with Johnson Outdoors, so they're doing Humminbird and Kota, and we pretty much. I think we have completely stopped ordering any. Maybe the ZX150s, we've ordered them with the smaller motors. Mm-hmm. But pretty much everything else, the X200 and above, everything's coming in with an Ultrex. Yeah. Unless it's an odd boat that just shows up for a different reason. Of course, the vast majority of the Skeeters that are coming in are already sold. I think we've pre-sold about half of our allotment for the year. So I don't know. That's a long-winded answer to the Ultrex is definitely the answer. But I don't know. There's some benefits to some of the other motors. I don't know the last time we sold a motor guide.
I've got. If anybody's looking for a motor guide and a good deal on a digital one, I think we've got 2 in stock that we got from we bought from one of our pros. So
yeah, I know.
So if you want a trolling motor that's been touched by Mark Menendez.
Yeah.
I got what you need.
I was just going to say Mark and Brian Latimer are the two that I can think of that we've dealt with that they run the Motor Guide motors.
Yeah. And I actually don't think he had any issues. Like, they had some issues with the Motor Guys, but I think Menendez's new one did pretty good this year.
I know from talking with Gene Jensen, the Fluke Master, he's been running Motor Guide, but I think a lot of that was he's been doing a lot of the kayak tournaments, and so he's mounted the Motor Guide came out with the kayak specific like 30 inch shaft motor, and he mounted it on the back on the bow of his kayak, and it's getting out, and that's become very popular in the kayak world. But I don't know. I hope that helps. Ultrex all day long, I guess. But the good news is we can try and get you whatever. We've got access to most everything. All right, I'm gonna bring up this last one because I'm not seeing any other questions, and we'll see some thoughts. It's an 04 Yamaha 225 TXR with 770 hours. Dropped the valve 3 minutes after startup. Never came out of idle. Going to get a brand new head assembly. Any ideas on why it might have happened? The piston wall seems fine. How good or bad an idea is it to just replace the one bad piston rings, bearings, and wrist pin? I'd like to avoid paying for a whole short block or 6 bores. Any thoughts on
why it happened? I mean, 770 hours. I guess a lot of times it depends on how the motor was being run in the environment. So it looks like it's possibly a saltwater engine. So saltwater's rough on stuff.
Yeah.
But
770s. That's getting.
It's not terrible for one of those engines. I've seen those engines with 5,000 hours on them. So there's a lot of things that can cause valve problems, and sometimes it's a timing issue. The timing belt could have broke and caused things to hit other things. So that would be my suspect. Those engines, the timing that might be a timing chain engine, and they're usually 1,000 hours. You have to replace the timing chain depending on how often you change the oil, or oil as they say.
Gotcha.
In other places. So overheat. Seen overheat cause it.
So what would your thoughts be on the best way to what's worth the money for going in and
I would there's a lot of people that redo those heads. I'd have their head redone myself, and then if all the other cylinders look good, I'd clean them up real good, and then go ahead and put new rings in them while you got it open, and then replace that piston and then hone it out. I've done several, some 4-strokes that we've had that were blown up and traded in, and ended up being pretty simple. Change the piston out, change the rod out, hone it out, and clean the valves up and let her half cap.
All right. Let's see here. When could y'all possibly get to changing out my base?
Well, Johnny, I don't know, because that'd be a question for my wife. She will be able to give you an idea. It's not a real hard job. It might be something that they could get you in and out, but you'd have to talk to Angela.
I think the ladies in the service office would slaughter us if we committed to a time.
Oh, I wouldn't dare.
They run a tight ship down there, keeping track of all that stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty backed up right now, Johnny. But if it's a simple job like that, it might be something that they could possibly fit you in. But don't get mad at them if they can't. There's a lot of stuff out there still.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we're going to be closing for basically the last 2 weeks of December and then into January a couple of days. So, that's kind of the way we.
But if you're not in a real, I know you probably, I don't know if you got a fishing partner that's sitting back there. If they can live with it for a little while, get on our appointment list, which is really long right now. But at least it'll be your time, and you can be using your boat. Have to worry about your boat sitting here for something like that.
All right, Michael. The short answer is we don't have any. We're the second half there. We're low on inventory. I mentioned just a few minutes ago. We've got pretty much at least half of our allotment of skeeters, and that's backing up the full conversation is that all of our manufacturers have given us an allotment instead of us being able to order as many boats as we want. They're only able to provide us a certain number of boats. For Skeeter, that'll probably likely be in the 80 to 100 boats. Is kind of what we'll probably, that's what we're hoping for. And we've already pre-sold at least 35 to 40 of those. So on the Skeeter side, we do have a couple of Falcons that are sitting here now from 205s. We got a one or two 195s and one or two 185s. But we've also got a number of those on order. Bass Cats, we've got a couple that are sitting here brand new, and then a good number of those on order. But compared to where we would normally be, it's a tiny number of boats. So
I guess some used boats right now.
Yeah, we definitely. I mean, we've taken in a good number of used boats. We've bought a lot of boats this season for it's a good time for guys that sitting around going, well, I'm not using that boat like I thought I would, and they we bought it off of them. So we do have a pretty good selection from some pretty reasonably priced older boats to we've got some like 2020 2021. We just got in a big old beautiful Ranger that I want to say it's a 2020 beautiful boat. So of course it's not cheap, but yeah, for new boats, the all of that to say, the best thing that I can tell everybody is you need to talk to somebody from sales. If you're shopping for a boat, if you want to buy a new boat, you need to talk with somebody from sales, not because they're going to try and talk you into a boat or give you some sales pitch, but the inventory supply is so dynamic right now. It is kind of changing week to week, as I'm sure you're hearing in other industries. And really the only way to get you the boat you want the quickest is to talk to a salesperson and let them run down there. I mean, every day they're talking with just about every rep. We're it's dynamic, it's tough.
And sometimes we do get a boat in that somebody's ordered and they either pass on it, can't get financed. Something comes up, if they don't like this color looks different than I thought it did. And, we had one like that the other day. Somebody didn't like a little part about the boat. And, literally another guy come in 30 minutes later and was like, he didn't want that boat.
Yeah.
And was like, yeah, he didn't want the boat. And he said, well, all right, well, sign me up. And so 30 minutes later, I had that boat sold. So
yeah,
you just never know.
That's the. I mean, it's a tough. I would say from the sales perspective, it's not a fun way to sell boats. Having to deal with all the ordered boats and all that kind of stuff. I'd much rather have you say, here you go, pick the color you like, and we'll rig it up. That's normally the way things work around here. So talk to somebody from sales, talk to Katie, talk to Melissa, and they'll get you the latest and greatest. But as an internet guy, as a guy that maintains our website and our inventory, I would tell people today, if you're serious about buying a boat, the worst thing you can do is spend a bunch of time hunting down on the internet. The best thing. I mean, I'm keeping our inventory up to date. It's just that most of the new stuff that's coming in is not, it's already sold. So if you're waiting for that boat to show up on the internet to call and talk, you could be waiting a year. So, yep. That's again long-winded answer, but it's a complicated time we're kind of going through right now.
Yeah, that is the same on motors.
Yeah,
Maybe even worse on motors.
Yeah, it's worse. What's the what Mercury told us, like 300 and aboves was like 54 weeks.
Yeah, 54 weeks. And the same thing with Yamaha. Some of the stuff's trickling in, and a lot of the stuff that we're seeing is coming from our boat manufacturers, where we see a lot of our motors from right now, because they get them before we do.
Right.
But like our pontoons, a lot of those we put on ourselves. They just send us, the boat manufacturer sends us a boat and orders a motor with that boat, and the engine comes here and we put it on.
The shortage is tough enough on the motor manufacturers that they have prioritized the OEMs. So, I mean, even though we're a sizable, and we sell a ton of Mercuries and Yamahas, shipped all over the country, we're low on the totem pole to get those.
And the first people are going to get is going to be Scooter, and then G3.
Yep.
And anything that they own, they're going to get those engines first. And
so the motor stuff, some of the smaller motors, the timelines aren't near as bad, but again, and for the bass guys, it's probably always a good time to talk and see what's available and what you can get. A lot of pontoon buyers, for sure, they're going to come in here in early March, wanting a boat for next season, and it's very likely they will have very slim pickings, between motors and boat availability. So it's insane. I mean, it's a pretty crazy, but we are doing the best we can to try and figure it out. And I would commend our manufacturers. Our reps have done a really good job. They've had to change. There's a lot of processes and all that kind of stuff that normally occur, and it's kind of all had to change to cater to the current. I mean, to ultimately get customers what they really want. So, let's see. No, are you used completely maintenance correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
if we own them, we usually maintenance them when we get them, or we'll do it right before they leave out. And if they're like a consignment boat, we usually wait until they're sold, because sometimes people decide they don't want to consign them, and then we end up servicing the boat for free. For somebody else that's not buying the boat.
And you're I mean, all of our used stuff, if obviously if it's new enough that it's got warranty, you're getting all that warranty. But if it's out of warranty, then we're still doing at least a 30-day warranty on that boat. The way I like to explain it is it's going to go through, every used boat is going to go through a trade check. So, the mechanics are going to go through all that stuff, take a look. Now, there may be some odds and ends depending on.
It is a used boat.
Yeah.
Sometimes a switch might not work after just little things.
But I mean, like some of the graphs, for example, if there's something hanky with a wiring or something like that on a graph, we might leave it knowing that there's a pretty high likelihood that whoever comes and buys it is going to want to swap it all out anyways. But yeah, I mean, we go through all that kind of stuff. But then when you come to buy it, then it goes back over to the rigging department. And they're going to go back through it as well, and take it down to the water, run it, go through all the systems and double check. And this guy right here is overseeing both of those. So yeah, you're getting at least a minimum of 2 sets of eyes going through the boat before it even. And then of course you come, we'll take you out on the water, let you run, see what you want to see. To make sure the boat's good and the way you want it.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, we're getting a lot of sales questions. I don't mind at all. It's good questions. Let's see. Back in the day, winter time was the best time to buy a new boat, but that has really changed now. So it's definitely, I would say, of course, has been in this game a whole lot longer than I have. But from what I've seen, even before COVID hit and the current supply issues, and particularly when you're talking about bass boats, I would say that trend was already going away.
Yeah.
That
Usually
we were.
mid-January they start cranking up for the bass boats. End of February, pretty heavy with the bass boats, and then the end of February it's pontoon, showdown.
But
Yeah.
I mean, even before COVID, I'd say at least the last 2 seasons, the rigging guys. I mean, obviously there was a lot less, but on the bass boat side of things, through the winter, there was still plenty of work for them to do compared to like they weren't sitting around twiddling their thumbs because nobody was buying boats.
Yeah, it's been the last 2 years. It's been insane. I can't believe it's 2020 already.
So, but yeah, now the reality is the fact that normally we wouldn't start selling 2022 boats. We'd start getting them about now, but they probably wouldn't really start selling until January, February. That's kind of the norm. We'd carry 5, 10 over into the new year. Of course, now that has all gone away, and we've already been selling. We've already delivered, 5 or 10 2022 model year boats. So, yeah, and it's the same. I know in the RV world, ATVs, all that kind of stuff. I guess the best way to describe it is it's a seller's market. But so in a lot of guys, if you're selling used stuff, it's great for you. But it's a tough time. Most people have been pretty understanding. I will say we've had a couple people that have called and done the angry hang up and said, fine, I'll call somebody that will sell me a boat. I'm like, well, the reality is we don't have a boat to sell you. So, and we are, every manufacturer is doing the best they can, but what they're promising to get us, will we get that? Yeah. The times are, and that's been the hard thing is trying to communicate that. We've always been about customer service around here. So now, and I'm not a big fan of doing the pressure sale. Like you got to call now, we don't find that works super well. Just answer your questions, get you what you want. And that's kind of,
most everybody knows what they want when they show up. They just got to point them in the right direction.
But now I will genuinely say, as part of good customer service,
the earlier you start, the sooner you get your boat.
So, all right, we beat that dead horse. Y'all carry 20 to 21 aluminum boats.
20s. Do we have 21?
Well, so we've got Avids that we've got some of the Avid boats that are you've got a 20-foot bass, and you've got 21 and 23-foot center consoles. We don't typically stock a lot of those bigger G3s that from that aluminum brand. G3 mainly what we're looking at is 17, 18 foot aluminum boats is primarily.
I'm assuming he's talking about bass boats too.
Yeah.
So as far as bass boat world goes, the main one that we carry is the Avid.
Yeah.
For a 20 foot.
Yeah. So you got a 20-foot Avid.
And I don't know if they plan on doing the 21 foot.
They've been talking about it. Actually, the Avid rep's supposed to be here today, so maybe we'll have some info on that. But
maybe I'll find something that'll hold a 250.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That would be nice. On the aluminum side, so G3 and Avid are the two main brands that we've got. So the G3 stuff, I'll close that out with we can. Well, normally we order what you want, but I think pretty much we've ordered everything. What we may be able to do is swap and change boats that we have on order, change those to a different model, and that's what we're doing with a lot of our manufacturers. So,
well, Michael, you'd like that Avid. You need to come look at one or find somebody's got one. We got a few guys around here that have them that probably take you for a ride.
Yeah, jump into the go to if you're on Facebook, jump into the Avid Owners Group. If you just search Avid Owners Group, there are a couple thousand folks, bunch of guys that were early buyers. And everybody's been very helpful in there. I know we've got a couple of our customers that are always answering questions, even a few of them that are around this area that are taking, have met guys and given them a ride. Because that Avid is, it's a remarkable boat, remarkable what they're doing with aluminum these days. So
we do have a used Lexus.
Yeah, we do.
We do have a blue used Lexus. It's still pretty new. It's got
it's
a lot of stuff on it. So.
Yeah, I want to say it's super low hours, but
it is.
I don't know. My brain can't keep track of all that data. That's why I like the internet. So, all right. Well, we should have gotten Katie in here to talk sales. Maybe we need to do one of these later. But guys, thanks for the questions. I think we're gonna jump out of here and head to lunch.
There you go.
Again, happy Thanksgiving. We'll do this. We'll see how. I guess we're really about a couple more weeks of Tech Tuesday, and then we'll probably chill out through the end of December and early January. Yeah, jump on with all the sales stuff. I'll definitely make the pitch. You can message us on Facebook, text us. That's those are always a good way. And of course, give us a call.
And keep in mind, if you call us and we are not able to answer, and then sometimes it takes a while to get back on the answer machine because you got to go through all the calls. You can actually text our number 256-442-2588.
Yep. If
you text our landline, a lot of times we can get to your questions faster if you do it that way.
So, yeah, we're here to help as much as we possibly can. Unfortunately, we can't make more product, but I know our manufacturers are working hard to get that stuff. So, all right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see y'all